Good evening. Wednesday night, 10th of March. Had to double check there for a second. Episode 28 of So What's Been Happening. Not a lot's been happening right now with me, but let's check out what the other boys are doing. How are we, cuz?
Good as. How are you, mate? How's your week
Good,
been?
mate. Yeah, very good, mate. And the lovely Lovey. How are you, Lovey?
Hey, Cobber. How are you?
Turning around on cue, mate. It was beautiful.
Yeah, good
Yeah,
on you,
look,
mate.
get stuffed. I can do that. Cuz does it every 5 minutes, so who cares?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Love the tea, mate. Love the tea.
It's going to be a
I'm
good
going to change hats too. Just seeing, well, if Cuz gets his camera right,
Jump forward.
I'm going to.
Righto.
Don't move your head. Don't move your head. Move the camera.
We'll give you a wardrobe change. Righto, cuz. Here we go. Episode 28. Who would have thought? So what's been happening?
Well, where would you like to start? We decided tonight was going to be a bit of a time capsule, but every time I put on any bit of news, whether it's through the socials, print, television, fair bit of talk about what's happening over with the royal family and Miss Meghan and Mr. Harry and how that's all playing out.
Yeah, no doubt one of your loves, sitting back watching Oprah. So let's bring back Lovey after a wardrobe malfunction. How are you, Lovey? Welcome back, mate.
Oh, fair income. It's not a malfunction. It's an improvement. It's lovely Dave Cosma who issued these to us last Friday night. Fantastic little shindig, by the way, at Swamplands. It was brilliant. So I enjoyed myself thoroughly.
Good to hear.
In terms of the Royal, honestly, I hope we give a bit of short shrift tonight on this Royal family crap. I'm more concerned about the crap in my backyard from my 3 dogs than I am about that whole debacle. Let's just, good on them. They moved away from the Royal family. I moved away from my mum and dad. They were my Royal family. Who cares? Move on. So, yeah.
Yep. We 1.3 million people in Australia watched that, wasted their 2 hours of their time that they won't get back. So I'm not sure what scoop they were hoping to achieve out of that, but at the end of the day,
what could you have been doing in the meantime? There are things.
I'd rather listen to the rest of Meghan's family and find out where else she went wrong, because there's plenty of knocks on her, that's for sure, which was always going to happen.
I'd rather listen to myself sing.
Her sister was very complimentary about Meghan, and once again.
Yeah.
The reason I brought up straight away was when we put on the ABC News tonight, because by the time we organised a few things and chasing around the kids and whatever, I just want to say the news, and we put on the news just in time to see the end of, obviously, the celebration of the life of Michael Gadinski, which we can touch on again a bit later on. But then the next thing was talking about the Meghan and Harry thing, but they weren't talking about that. They were talking about the guy, Pierce, when he did his little hissy fit. And
Piss Morgan. Yeah, I know. How good's he?
How good. I'm done. No, that's it. So, I'm done.
Yeah. Won't be the last time Cuz walks out on us. Just to let you know, Lovey, too.
Look, he could cry tonight.
Take the bat and ball and go home. You got to love that. And when they do it on National 7 Better, what do you mean you don't respect? Oh, okay. Well, see ya. Thanks very much.
I'm done. Yeah.
Done.
I don't respect anything anyone else says. See you later.
That's right. So we talked about an episode of Time Capsule, and I think that's a great idea, Lovey. So, like a good wine, mate, we will talk about different ways to throw things in the vault, so to speak, and put them away for another day, and we'll find out whether any of this gold comes back to haunt us or comes back to fruition in the end. But let me start with probably some news we're all waiting for. I wasn't sure what was going to happen, and it's finally happened today, and that's the retirement of the great Cameron Smith. Great to see. Testament and an absolute legend of the game. I think he's done the right thing and go out like that. No doubt he's probably thought of another great Melbourne Storm, Cooper Cronk, who went to the Roosters and won 2 premierships, and probably thought, could he go and do that somewhere? why would you, mate? He's done it all. I think it's the right time to retire. Lovey, thoughts?
Ignore the one club player stuff. I mean, that doesn't happen anymore. No one really cares about that shit. So for me, it's more about the legacy he has left at Melbourne Storm. I look at different levels of sport, and your best clubs in any sort of major sporting league or competition will have blokes like Cam Smith through it the whole way through. And how many years did he play there? 18 seasons, 18 seasons, right? And he's won a flag every 4 years there. I still count. For what it's worth, I actually follow the Dragons, St George Illawarra, and I despise the Storm. But their flag should never have been taken off them. So for me, they've won 4 or 5 flags under Cam Smith. And I just think, to have a bronze statue in an AFL town for the opposing code says it's a real testament to the influence he's had on our sporting landscape. Really, I love the bloke. I love his laconic nature. I love the way he goes about. I think life. He's not too serious about himself. Can take the piss out of himself. Craig Bellamy. Anyone that's walked past him, he's been really kind to them as well. I mean, I've been to a couple of things and functions that he's been at, and he gives his time as good as anyone. So yeah, well done, Cooper Cronk. Wow, well done, Cam Smith. I think hopefully he stays involved with the Storm, but he'll stay in the game anyway. But hopefully it's with the Storm for their sake.
Yeah, look, my kind of mail is that it might be with the Broncos, just as a bit of an advisory. Come on, be a coach in a few spots. He's got so much to offer, and offer more importantly things like the State of Origin team, and I think that's where he probably should slip in and start. Nice to hear you pour red there. Lovey, it's beautiful. Great sound.
Look, cheers to Cam Smith. But the thing is, for me, look, he probably just wants to go home after 20 years.
Yep.
Why not?
Yep, and I think he was wrestling with that decision, to be honest. Moved to Queensland, got up there, got his family settled up there, see how comfortable everything is. There's no doubt they came down here, fairly alone with no other family. I know his wife, Barb, they basically had the kids together and had no one else other than Storm family, which was probably one of the reasons why the Storm was just so united after all those years. And I can't think of a player that hasn't been open to a conversation or a g'day or to anyone that walked up to him. So it's just such a great club. And I'm not saying the AFL's not like that, but I think one thing the Storm do very well is embrace anyone that's come through that building. So, and just on that, today got unveiled the great bronze statues of 2 absolute Melbourne Storm legends, Billy Slater and Cam Smith. So that's going to be a great spot in Melbourne to get past and take a photo. My only comment to that is something I saw today, which I've just got to find the image of. Have a look at this. Now, if you remember, one of the images that was of, I think it was a bit of a trick on Beckham.
Like when he was 30.
Mate, there's no chance that's Cameron Smith. So I think they've got the wrong picture there. We might have to do a bit of recarving. But the one of Billy looks good. But there's no doubting it. Great legacy he's left. Cuz, give us your last word on that.
Oh, look, as we are parents, we're loving I coach footy. You've been around footy with you work with Game Day and that. As I know, you know a lot of the Storm people and whatever, and you're pretty passionate Storm supporter. He is the classic. He epitomises. I'm the leader. Jump on my back. I'm just going to do it. As Lovey said, you're coming or you're not coming. But that also, he's not going to belittle you if you don't come. He'd still be the first bloke, as you're not picking up here, mate, I'll pick you up and you better jump on as well.
Yeah, and I think
the fact that it's been so long, that even made me think, made him even seem a stronger person. Like if you look in terms of footy from an AFL perspective, or even in soccer, say from EPL, when someone goes, oh, I'm injured, I want to transfer, 9 times out of 10, they jump ship. As Lovey said, he's written the book, rewritten the book, and walked and talked the way he's wanted to the whole way through. But at no time has he ever been too big for the thing. Like from a personal point of view, as you both know, really good mate of mine, Tim Sim. He died of cancer a couple of years ago. He was a passionate Storm supporter. Now, the way the Storm and Cam Smith, they put the day that we celebrated his funeral at Melbourne Park, where his membership chair was, they had a scarf and all that set up. Now, I know a lot of clubs do that, but to go there and listen to them speak about Tim, he wasn't a supporter. He was part of the Melbourne Storm family. And it's those sort of stories that you hear. And when you see Cam Smith get interviewed, you want to listen to him or you want to speak to him. You want to be his mate and learn from him. And yeah, it's cliched, I know, but he's just a good bloke.
Yep. Absolutely. And to be fair to everyone else, I think a lot of clubs do that really well in the professional sports and never get enough credit for it. So big shout out to any one of those boys that's gone out on a community camp that didn't have to, that's gone, and spent their time and gone and done that and committed their time. I mean, you guys yourselves do it for a pie after the game, there's no tie for you guys to be there at a club like that. Your kids aren't there. You get involved in a club because you enjoy coaching and developing young blokes and be around another group and another big family. So hats off to you boys as well for being involved in a local club and moving clubs, most importantly, and starting again and grabbing another challenge. So well done.
Yeah,
thanks, mate.
And I appreciate that, mate. Like even tonight, Lucas is playing for Monty, which I don't actually care where they play, my boys, whether it's footy, basketball, whatever. I think it's just fantastic we know about the year we've had, 12, 13, 14 months, however long it's been. It was just good to see young boys and girls out enjoying themselves. And also,
just to cut you off for 2 secs, mate, I know about enjoying yourself, and I just want to do this quickly. We've got a very special guest that wants to come on and just say a quick g'day. G'day, Dave. How are you, mate?
Gentlemen, how's it going?
Oh no!
Very good, mate. I know Dave's got a gig on tonight. Starts in about 10 minutes, mate. So he's jumped on to say a quick g'day.
Jeez, the stage is all yours, mate.
I've just popped across the road here, trying to get a bit of quiet here. I'm on High Street in Northcote, out front the beautiful town hall, as you can see.
Oh, look at that! What a great night!
Yeah, there's a few people bustling about tonight for a bit of a cheeky midweek get out on the town. How's everyone there? Good.
Good, mate. Hey, does Pharrell Williams know that you've stolen his hat?
I know. I left the house thinking, mate, I better saddle up. Got the horse. Get the water, get the rain, get the saddle out. I'm on the way.
And Chevy Chase and the other two amigos looking for their shirts as well, mate.
All right, Snoozy.
He's gone with it again.
Yeah, it's great.
Beautiful,
Dave. Hang on, Dave.
Tell us a little bit about tonight's gig, Dave. Where can we find you?
We're down at Open Studio in High Street. I've not played here before, but I'm playing alongside a good mate, Adrian White, who I've been playing together in various projects over the last sort of 5-6 years. And we're just sort of doing a couple of sets of cheeky covers, rockabilly, rock and roll covers, which is sort of a genre that we're both big fans of. We performed some of these songs in the show that we're in called Sun Rising, the songs that made Memphis. So yeah, it's just nice to get out with Adrian and play a couple of tunes live.
Good,
nice,
fantastic, mate.
What's your first song?
Oh, My Babe, which is a song that was recorded by a whole pile of different artists, but I like the Little Walter version. We dig into a lot of the early Elvis and Carl Perkins and Johnny Cash stuff, and throw in a couple of little originals along the way. So it should be a good night.
Beautiful, Dave. Well, if anyone's not aware, get down there. And it's a free gig, but it's also a case of put your hand in your pocket and throw some money in the kitty, mate, because these two guys are too good an artist to play for free. So, Dave, thanks again, buddy, for jumping on, and good luck tonight.
Thanks for having me, boys, and good to see you all Friday night down at Swamplands. It was great to catch up.
Mate, it was fantastic.
Mate.
Thank you very much.
All right, boys.
Cheers, Dave. See you soon, buddy.
See ya.
Don't forget your 6-shooters.
How good was that to have Dave on? Just a little sneaky preview, advertise tonight's gig.
Thank you.
Absolute superstar. And just speaking of that, we took a great photo of the boys together. The first time the So What's Been Happening crew has got out and about at a live gig with Dave and Cuz, looked like you brought someone else with you there, but also the great Charles Jenkins came along with us. How good is he? And another shot of Dave there live, which was fantastic. So how good is it to be out and about again, boys, and drinking a couple of cold ones and having a bit of fun and a laugh?
Can we get half of my gut into the time capsule as well? Maybe that'd be pretty good.
Well,
That was very excited me.
Maybe that's the first time capsule prediction. I would predict that you need to lose 15 kilo. There you go. There's my first prediction.
How long are you
lose
giving
it? 6 months.
Righto. So what have we got? 10th of. I wrote the date down before. 10th of March. So
10th of September, mate. Just in time before we start getting hammered again during final series with AFL.
Okay.
All right, let's make a pact, cuz. Let's make a pact, and this is a pact between the three of us. That the three of us are in the best nick we've been in for a couple of years. Come grand final day this year. There we go. So to
I'll
September.
back myself in 100% there.
Yep.
Lovey's on his way, and he's just got to keep it up. Cuz, you're going to get black t-shirts otherwise, but you're looking good there, mate. We had a good night, no doubt. It's great to get my lovely wife out and about meeting you boys too. Sorry, Cuz.
Now, cheeky Sitel there in the photo as well. Lovely to have her out as well. And
snuck
the person,
in.
If you could bring up
One
the photo.
we didn't get a photo of was Berkey, and he's another part of this podcast that's been on and off. And Berkey, we need you back, mate. So no good hiding in the background. Come on, mate. We need to talk. We're in your wheelhouse, mate. It's music time, and that's what we've been talking about. We're going to talk about in current shows. So, Berkey, we need you, mate. Come back, please, and save us.
He's not still at Swamplands, is he?
He might be. Charles Jenkins might be.
Yeah.
Is
it was
it
a great night.
Time that we took, sorry, mate. Is it maybe time that we took the great So What's Been Happening podcast? If Berkey can't come to us, is it time that we maybe pick up stumps and go to Berkey?
Well, funny you say that. We will work out our next version of a live edition of the podcast. And I know, I think we've actually had a couple of offers to do a live podcast in a couple of venues recently. So we're going to explore that one a little bit more and see what we can do there.
Can we do that?
Cuz, we'll get you a couch, Cuz, so you'll be right, mate.
Yeah, a 3-seater so no one else sits on it.
Right. All right, let's start off with a couple of predictions. So we've got a prediction of the best version of yourself this year. Okay, so we're going with that one for September.
Yep.
Let's go to probably undoubtedly one of our favourite loves, the AFL. Let's start with a couple of predictions and questions. I want to start with who's going to make the top 8.
Can I go
now,
first?
Yeah, first one.
Let's give us your number 1 and 2 first.
1 and 2. Replay
this is before finals. Before the finals start. Yep.
So I think these two will finish top 2, and I think they will play off. Power and the Brisbane Lions.
Okay.
I think the Power could win it.
Well, obviously, if they're finishing top 2.
That might be another one. All right, that's top 2 for now. Cuz, Lovey, sorry, who you got?
I've got Geelong and Brisbane.
Okay.
I think Geelong have recruited. It's quite clear. They believe that 2021, 2022, and I get the sense that they're more than happy to then go back to the draft after that. So for me, I think Geelong will finish top 2. They're too talented not to. And Brisbane, despite the tragic news of Cammy Rayner today and yesterday that he's done his ACL, I think they've now got some really strong depth, and they will kick scores. And they play 13 games up at the Gabba, or in Queensland. So it's Brisbane for me, top 2.
And watching Geelong, just talking about Geelong, Lovey, I know it's only a practice match, but I went and watched Essendon and Geelong on Saturday night, and taking out the score, taking out whatever. But as you said, the structures, like they have definitely cherry-picked Cameron, Smith, Sean Higgins, all, yes, going towards the back end of their career, but all blokes who know what you need to get done in big games. Higgins has probably been a bit stiff where he's been to clubs where he's gone there thinking they were going to go okay and hasn't worked out. Doggies north. But I think he could be in that sort of middle.
But the key thing is, Cuz, and this is why I picked Geelong top 2, the key thing is your best teams have a really good, strong 18 to 22nd player all the time. And Higgins wouldn't be in their best 18, but he'll be in their best bench, if you know what I mean. And if there's injuries, he can step up. They've now got enough talent for me to finish top 2 quite comfortably because of their depth. It's not superstars anymore, it's just depth. That's all it is.
What about you, Wes? What do you think?
I've got Geelong and Brisbane to finish top 2. So I don't think that's a massive surprise.
No.
And my next 2 after that is Port and Richmond in that order. So just to finish off that 5, the top 5, I think West Coast is the next one. So, no massive surprises in amongst that, I guess, but interested to hear your next 3, Cuz.
So as I said, obviously I said Port and Brisbane, but then I didn't go in the sort of order, so to speak. I've got in there, in the 8, Richmond, Geelong, West Coast, Dogs, Saints. That's the 7. And then 8th, Dartboard.
All right.
Bombers
now,
you
didn't listen to what was asked of you then, did you, Cuz?
No,
so that's okay.
I haven't finished. Let me finish. So I'm going to go with...
Get the splinters out, get off the fence, and put them in order.
Love the bomb.
Don't mind me while he's spilling his guts. I'll just pull another one. Go, Cuz.
GWS to round off the 8.
Righto. So give me 3, 4, and 5. 3, 4, and 5 in the order.
Be in the order.
Yeah.
Geelong, West Coast, Tigers.
Righto. You sound still a little bit splintered, like you're not hard on the decisions there. All right. Bottom 3 in the 8.
You need a concrete fence.
The bottom 3 in that would be the Dogs, the Saints, and the Giants.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna throw in,
aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna throw in Dogs, Collingwood, and a smoky Carlton. Carlton sneak in the 8 and play a final. Not ideal, but you got to throw caution to the wind when you throw things in the time capsule. Lovey, who's your last 3?
Well, I'll give you my 3rd, 4th, and 5th because Cuz completely, destroyed my time in the sun on that one.
Too busy watching you drink wine, mate. Apologies.
Third, shut up. 3rd, I've got West Coast. Again, an interstate team with 13 home games. You can't go wrong with that. West Coast 3rd. I've got St Kilda 4th. And I have the Doggies 5th. I have Port 6th. I have Richmond 7th. And my smoky is, because this is the best emerging midfield you will see in a long, long time, the Dockers will finish 8th.
Righto.
And if everyone just watches the last season of the Dockers in their midfield and the way that they emerged in that last 10 weeks in particular, a year under their belt, they're going to be a pretty special little midfield unit this year. So for me, it's the Dockers that'll sneak into the 8 and have a real good crack at it. No, I see Richmond sliding a little bit, to be honest. Right. It's just that year too far for me.
Right, well, let's drop that 8 into the vault. In they go. Let's go with the next one.
Bang.
As far as... Okay,
so That's a secure-looking vault, by the way, Aaron. Well done. I like it.
That's right. There you go. We haven't screwed the lid on yet, but it's just dropped in. Now let's go with who's your certainty to make the granny, and then who's the next club most likely to play them.
Geelong, certainty. And I can see Bulldogs sneaking into the grand final. That midfield is going to be it's going to be elite. And if it gets on a 1 month roll, it'll do what it did in 2016. So for me, I see Geelong certainty, and I reckon the Doggies could pinch a few finals wins and get in there.
Okay.
Just a question sort of from that. Of the teams we've named, and we are pretty similar in the teams we've named, haven't we? Obviously, we're looking at interstate teams for the playing as many home games as they'll get.
Mm-hmm.
Which team of those teams that we've said, Port, Brisbane, Geelong, West Coast example, who do you think's got the best midfield? Like if starting round one in 6 days, 8 days, whatever it is, who has got the most elite midfield?
Western Bulldogs.
Yep.
The reason why they won't finish top 4 is because they don't have forwards still.
And
they're still reliant on Norton, and they can still be subject to a big score kicked against them too. So their midfield is just going to have to be elite, and that's why I think they will be.
Yeah. Righto. Mine, I reckon Brisbane are a certainty to get to the granny. There you go. And I reckon my Smokies Geelong to get to play them. So, or my next best. So that'll be interesting.
Hold on. You got Geelong as a Smoky. Geelong made the grand final last year. How is that a Smoky? Is that like... It's a bit like...
No certainty, mate. Keep in mind, certainty to even make the finals these days. So you can drop off pretty quick. You can be stuck with injuries. Things can go pear-shaped pretty quickly, mate. Look what just happened in Brisbane with Rayner.
Don't accuse Glenn of being on a fence there. Your lead is clearly a kilometre wide. So... I
was very, very quick with one certainty there, and I think my smoking on my next best definitely is Geelong. So let's roll with that.
Okay.
All right, let's go with.
Can I go with one more then? One more question.
Yep.
Putting.
You're not real good at. Go for it, mate.
If we all know, where will your mob finish as?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that. Yeah.
Okay. Go on.
All right. Which player from another club, and not your club, and not your favourite club, will win the Brownlow medal?
Oh. So, in other words, which midfielder will win it? Is that the question you're asking?
Yeah, almost. Yep. I'll kick it off.
Marcus Bontempelli.
Yeah, well done, cuz. Thanks for letting me kick off. Righto, I'm going the same. So we agree. We agree.
Based on
I wouldn't say it's a certainty, but he's highly likely. Highly likely. The way he started and the way he finished.
I think, and it's just my opinion, I think this year, with what he can do, he can go forward, play on the mids, hurt teams both ways. I think he could be more influential than Lachie Neale was last year for Brisbane.
He had a pretty bloody good year last year, Bontempelli, and he didn't vote that well in the end.
But they didn't
vote.
Plenty took
vote. Shoot the lights out.
Yeah.
Who's yours, Lovey?
I'm going to go a bit of a left field one, and I think this guy epitomises why St Kilda's on the rise, and that's Jack Steele. There's a bit of value for money on Jack, and the umpires do like him. And the best part about him is, he goes to the best midfielder, but then he gets his 30. And he's only going to get better this year anyway. He's only in his mid-20s. I mean, that's the frightening part about Jack Steele. So if you want value for money and a bloke that will finish in the top 5 clearly, and I think it could sneak it, would be Jack Steele, St Kilda.
And there was a little bit of a whisper last year that he was going to poll all right, and he did poll well. And as often when they get spoken about when they've had a breakout year, often the next year they'll either win it or poll well again. So
Hence, don't believe any umpire that tells you they don't listen to the media.
Of course they do. And I don't say that, sorry, to umpires watch, but you can't not listen to what's going on the way it is.
So, Jack Steele, on you. Good work.
Right. Let's just have a little recap of the one thing that I noticed from, obviously, because we got to play them, Melbourne versus Bulldogs, but have a look at this.
High kick into the pocket. Numbers all around. Off balance. Bottom. Pelly. Save it. Save it. Stop doing it now, please, Box.
Not a bad start, let's face it.
Yeah, I wish there were cameras out at Ringwood back in '96. I'd just do that every week.
The goals we almost kicked, or the goals we thought we kicked, eh?
Hang on.
Mine went in the full. That's all right. Yeah, there you go. Good.
Righto. Have a break, cuz. Good to see you. All right, next one. Let's go with the next one.
Please, you waited to 31-minute mark to bring that up, though, so I'm impressed.
That's right. Who wins the 21 Coleman medal?
Can we guess the goals as well? I reckon it's going to be 48.
Yeah, throw a number at it. Yep.
48 goals. It's putrid. Jeremy Cameron.
Righto.
You can't get the feed he will this year and not kick a ton of goals, but it's only going to be about 48 for me anyway. Maybe I'm being a bit facetious. It'll probably be in the 60s, whatever. But Jeremy Cameron will win it.
Cuz, who you got?
I don't
Peter
think
Street.
He won't kick that many goals. He'll be a good target, but he won't be the leading goal kicker for the comp, I don't think. I think...
Didn't ask you to critique my selection. Just have your own selection, pal.
Just throw it in the vault, mate.
The Coleman.
That's the one where they have a leading goal kicker, mate, for the whole competition.
Blast from the past a little bit. Some say past it. I say Kennedy West Coast.
Righto. What's the number?
Oh, we're giving a number as well. 48. I'll go...
Back to the Future.
46.
Righto. Very low on the goal kicking, boys. I'm going to be a little bit more confident and run with 60. 60 goals gets it done this year. And I'm going Charlie Dixon. So there you go. Cool. Throw it in a... I reckon it's a good option.
Mid-size forward. Was it? Did Phil Material win the Coleman one year from West Coast? Did he win it one year as a small forward? I can't remember.
Got a funny feeling.
Either won it or came very close to winning it.
Yeah. And Eddie Betts came close about 3 or 4 years ago at Adelaide.
Yep.
But how funny? Right. That's an indication that the amount, even you going with 60, of we were lucky enough to see players 100 goals. The fact we're talking 60, like 40% like it's the change.
Well, we're a long way from big forwards kicking 100 again. I think we're more likely to see a high number out of a midfielder these days. And I think Bont maybe could be one that gets close to 40 or 50 even. So who knows? Let's go with the Nab Rising Star. And I know this is very early. Don't get me wrong. But there's a couple of names that I've seen floated around already and a couple that have got a bit of exposure early. Matt Rowell being one that's come back into the mix.
Excuse me typing in the background here. Because I'm actually trying to work out who's actually eligible.
That's all right.
Can I? Sorry, what is the eligibility? Because do you have to? How many games are you allowed to play in your first year? Because is that why Rowell's back in conversation again?
Well, given you're a numbers man, Cuz, I thought you might be all over that, but I'm not really sure, to be perfectly honest with you.
Just go to your sports bet app, Cuz. It'll have the Rising Star odds on that.
I'm a tab man, mate. We've had that discussion before.
Oh, well, whatever. Come on, mate.
I apologise.
Yes.
I am across it. I do think...
Now you are.
I don't think... No, there's a...
Hang on.
No, just shut up. There's a reason why he was picked at number 1 this year by the Doggies. That's Ugle Hagen.
Yep.
I've watched his pre-season and he's been pretty good He's not going to get daunted by senior bodies. He's not going to get. He finds his way through traffic pretty well. And Rising Stars, Matt Rowell will get tagged. That's the problem for Matt Rowell. He'll be the number one tag after 5 senior games of football, which is insane in itself. And it's a credit to him. So Ugal Hagen's about the 6th mid in line. I think he'll go all right.
Righto. I'm going to go Rowell. So who do we think the tagger's back? I've heard a few things discussed in relation to taggers now, and blokes being genuinely tagged again and blocked again, because I reckon it's dropped off in the last couple of years. Is it back now?
What you'll find,
stand on the mark rule.
Aaron, what you'll find. Sorry, go, Cuz.
Taggers, a good tagger, have the ability to stop their opponent, but now get the footy. You look at the guy who was at Freo, now at the GWS, the ball. Everyone used to say to him, "Oh, the ball, he's no good. He just gets 12 touches and doesn't do anything." But now he actually stops an opponent and goes back the other way and hurts him. So that's why, in that aspect, I think, I don't know, try not to be negative, that I suppose the tagging, then I think there'll be accountability, but with the change of the rules, with all that, I think a bit more free flying as well.
Tagging for me has not come back. You're not tagging. What you're doing, you're finding the most important footballer in the midfield, but you're sharking contests. You're actually getting in front of the ball and winning your football. Yeah, I agree with Cars. You've got to find the footy. But instead of a Matt De Boer, I'll give you Jack Steele. And that's why I'm saying Jack Steele is a Brownlow chance. He influences a game of football. De Boer doesn't influence a game of footy. Yes, he negates the best midfielder, so maybe that goes away to winning. But Jack Steele, you watched St Kilda last year, there was at least 5 or 6 games in a quarter or half of football. His productivity with the footy was just turned games on its head. So for me, if you've got the ability to read the ruck off the best opposition footballer and then influence the game that way, it's not tagging. It's just you being a sensational midfielder. And the other thing that I'll say, football clubs are a lot more adept and more capable and willing to find that 2-on-1 option. So if you look at the way Cripps gets played on every week, you look at the way that Zorko got taken out of a lot of games last year, clubs are willing to play the 2-on-1 and back in the 2-on-1 to win that contest. So it's not a sole tagger anymore. It's either 2-on-1 or it's just a guy that knows how to read the game well enough to get his own pill and hurt their best midfielder back the other way. It's not a Cameron Ling. You won't see the Cameron Ling, Jared Crouches, Crowleys anymore. They're outdated. They're actually gone. Jack Steele's a new standard of, if you like, shadowing the number one on ball on the other team.
What do you think, guys?
What's the thought process there, guys? Is that you can't afford to give away or devote one player to that now because you get too much hurt the other way, or what's the thought?
I don't think it's that. I think it's, as we talk about with the blokes that we coach, and it's all about the accountability. So whether you're setting up in a defensive area, your forward area, midfield stoppage, it's all about the accountability. So the first thing is, okay, let's be positive about us and set up how we want to set up. But as Lovey said before, we identify who are their best players, but we'll back Lovey that even though Az is a good player, that Lovey will get to him and I'll be there for backup as another midfielder. It's an awareness as opposed to a saturation, so to speak. Would that be a fair call, Lovey, do you reckon?
It is. Again, I'll get back to the fact that you still want 3 attacking midfielders all the time.
Yeah.
And you still want to be proactive in what you do, even as the third mid. If you're just a complete shutdown footballer, well, the theory is, and I agree with it, you're actually almost in self-defeatist mode straight away before you've even bounced the ball. You've already taken one of 3 options out of the contest because you're just asking him to purely just negate. Now, your best midfielders, by and large, if you look at Greg Williams in the years gone by, if you look at all the best midfielders, they've found ways to still beat taggers. So to actually get past that you actually got to win your own football. The easiest way to hurt those gun midfielders is to hurt them by you using the football and still being attacking in your own right. When it comes to accountability, all that is what's happening off the football. So, yeah, you've won the contest, you've kicked it 35 metres, but the art of negating the opposition best mid then, or anywhere for that matter, is, so what are you doing about the next 2 steps? Are you a step ahead of the game compared to your opponent? That's proper, for me, that's proper accountability. It's reading the game well enough so that then your opposition can't actually get to the football before you each and every time because you've read the game, as opposed to just scragging and all the rest of it. No, you can beat that, but you can't beat a bloke that reads the game a step ahead of everyone else. You can't beat that.
Well, speaking of that and reading the game and cutting off options, I don't know how much you caught of the Port Adelaide game, mate, but Aliir was just outstanding. Intercept marks. Jake Lever did it again on the weekend, really actually started to back themselves, and I think that role's still super critical in that back line, isn't it?
100%. 100%, because and the easy part is they're not a seventh defender, they're still just a defender. They're just reading the game a lot better than their opposition. You're totally right. You don't need a loose defender anymore. If you've got a bloke that can do that whilst still being, in Cuz's words, accountable to an opponent, it's gold. It's like gold.
Mate, as a defensive coach, I say that all the time to defenders, that obviously your first thing to do is defend. That's your defensive position. But once identify, again, to that accountability, identify, for want of a better word, the weaker forward. There will be a forward who they won't play through. So then the smart players and the 2 blokes you said, probably the best at it, or probably one better than them is maybe McGovern from West Coast. Like, every side who plays against him knows what he's going to do, but does anyone really negate him?
Well, I find Darcy Moore now as the best in the comp.
Yeah. Well, the best
Darcy
thing
Moore.
I'm happy to mention him. Brendan Faulkner, who's the head coach at Lilydale, where we are. One of the drills that we do, he speaks about delivering to the forward line, and sometimes he says, don't be predictable. So don't get it in. We'd all love it there. Hands out in front. Beautiful. Sometimes just get it in there and so that takes away that predictability that those blokes who zone off and read the play. Like, get it in there and then let your forwards do their crafts.
Yep, absolutely. Another one that's gone into the vault, the great man, Bruce. He's done.
I'm going to give you an unpopular opinion. It's about time. 3 years overdue.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I think Channel 7 hung on as long as they could and kept him there. And I think they ran the Cam Smith model, to be honest. They ran with, when it's your time, he'll call it. And I think he's gone on to better things, and he's got plenty of things to offer in racing. And I think he may even bow out after Tokyo, to be honest. I think he's done everything he could in sport. Let a young bloke like the guest we had on not long ago, Jason Richardson, let him have a crack,
Have we been lucky enough to maybe have?
Bruce, you've been lucky. Bruce, you've been lucky. You've had a great time. You've shared the mantle with so many other blokes and women, for that matter, coming through the ranks. Be behind the scenes, Bruce. You got too much to offer. You're an absolute database, no doubt. Like, he knows there's not much Bruce doesn't know, and I think if anything, he should be feeding the live feed with the right data. So, and he can do that from his.
Here's one. What's his best effort? What's his best call you ever recall?
Cuz?
I'll jump on that one for you straight away. Kathy Freeman 2000 sticks out a mile. That's it. Yeah. You couldn't commentate that better.
He epitomised the moment, the situation, even her Indigenous background, the whole situation. You couldn't have given him a script and said, that's what you're going to read.
But you know what he did best in that call? Straight after the event, as soon as the race was won and done, he threw it to Raylene Boyle.
Yeah.
Now, Raylene Boyle is the best in the business from an experience perspective, and he just let Raylene talk to it. And that was why Bruce was so good. He felt the moment, like you said, Cuz, and he allowed those that knew better actually talk. And And I think that some of his calls of those late '90s AFL grand finals were unbelievable. The way he called in Darren Jarman, Wayne Carey, Corey McKernan, and those North Melbourne flags. As much as we hated them as Melbourne and Essendon fans, because we were pretty close to those ones in those years, he had a knack. He had a knack. And Committee's the only other one I put up on the same pedestal as McAvaney from an AFL perspective.
Yep.
But yeah, his time's come. His time's come.
It was interesting talking the other week when we had Jason on, and the way Jay spoke about him, like just that he said he's the most, what you see is what you get, most approachable person. Like he's never too busy to ask a question, give a bit of advice. And look, I'm with you. I think he probably hung on maybe a year and a half too long, but I give him the COVID.
I would too if I'm getting paid $2.5 million a year.
I mean, in terms of with what happened with the footy last year, I know it was on, but it wasn't what it was meant to be. And with the Olympics, so that's why he probably got to hang on a little bit longer. But to me, he's up there with his call of Kathy Freeman's up there with Bill Collins calling that Cox plate with Bone Crusher and our Waverley Star.
Oh, yeah.
It's up there with things like that. Like it's sitting here now, the hair's on the back of the neck. Like as a sports lover and Australian, two of the most iconic calls ever.
Absolutely, yeah. And a good mate of mine, Jace Innes, absolutely, Kathy Freeman. He gives that the big thumbs up. I remember the 88 grand final, Melbourne Hawthorn. I remember it vividly because we got absolutely hammered by a record margin. And we sat in the rain. We sat in the rain and the outer from the under-19s. I reckon it hammered rain all the way through the first, all the way into the ones. And then when Hawthorn were up by at least 10 goals, I think coming into half-time almost, the rain settled and it became half-time. And that was the day Bruce called Ben Johnson home in the 100-metre sprint with Carl Lewis. And I'll never forget his comment of, what a win if it's legal. So he knew what we didn't know. And when you look back at any of that footage, it must have been just so obvious to Bruce that Big Ben wasn't himself that day, and he was proven very correct.
It just the fact that he'd be audacious enough to make that comment. Like you said, to us teenagers, we had no idea, but I reckon the athletics world probably knew better.
But to be totally honest, mate, I know it was 1988 and the freedom of, I suppose, talking out about things a lot different now to back then. But I like that from a sports person or a sports broadcaster. Guess what? That person's cheating. I'm going to call it out.
Yeah. Well, that's like Sung Yang. That's like Sung Yang, the Chinese swimmer. I mean, there was commentary that is similar along similar lines, and shock horror, he's found guilty of doping. So good, call it out.
One other Bruce when I was speaking about it was, and there was one that I don't think he was actually aware. I remember a couple of years ago, one of the races that Winks won, one of the Group 1s or something. The Channel 7
Which one
guys,
of the 30-odd?
The Channel 7 guys, because obviously Bruce didn't call the races at this stage. He was obviously doing the commentary, and they were going up to our caller, Matt Hill, whoever it might have been. And then they filmed Bruce watching, and it was like he was actually riding "Come On Girl," and everyone would think, "Oh, why is he doing that?" Doesn't it? But just that's the passion of the man for something he loves, and it's not just horse racing; it's footy, it's athletics, it's basketball, it's whatever. So he's in my top 3 of all time for commentary for sure.
The only thing I remember about the '88 grand final. Sorry, go Az. You go.
No, you're right. Go for it. Let's close off that.
A very glib comment. It cost me a visit to the Royal Melbourne Show that year because my dad actually thought that Melbourne would be competitive and he wanted to stay home and watch the grand final. By quarter time, he said, "What time does the show finish that night?" And I said, "Dad, don't worry about it. I'm no longer interested." And we just watched the worst grand final up until that point of all time. So thanks, Melbourne. Well done. It's good.
Yeah, well, for me, there was only one worse, and that was 2000 against Essendon, mate. So that's two absolute horror stories. And that was grand finals, but definitely the worst finals moment for me was the year before.
Forgive the audience. There's something I've been wanting to show all year, and it goes back to 2000. So keep talking. I'll bring it back.
Okay, mate. Righto, let's let Lovey go and get the goods.
Can we talk? Go on.
Yeah, absolutely. You can mention it.
Go on, mate. What was yours?
So for me, 87 was the biggest football tragedy for me. We'd played so well. We're up in Queensland watching, and we were working out whether we were going to book our tickets early, and that we were in, mate. We were almost celebrating until that final moment. But to be fair, that goal was getting kicked, whether the 15 or 50 happened at all anyway, mate. These sailed through so high, it was ridiculous. But to me, it was a winner. Lovey, what do you got?
I've been very lucky to see 4 premierships and 2 under TD, Bomber Thompson, 1 under James Hird, Kevin Sheedy. 2000, you spoke about 2000, mate. It's there it is in a nutshell. That's my Bombers in as I've seen them over the years. Been very, very lucky to see 4 premierships. Unfortunately, blokes like yourself, hopefully you get one very, very soon.
One thing I am, mate, is incredibly
there it is, mate. The one, the James Hird one. The James Hird one, up the other far in there. That's 2000, right? It could have been you. It just wasn't. Bad luck. That's the way it goes.
Oh, look, we were a fair way off, to be honest. And I just, there's no doubt the Bombers were the best team and the best team coming in. It was a case of who wanted to play them. And we put our hand up and we had a crack and we got there. But we just
I think it was great. It was great that you guys knocked off Carlton in the first week of finals. That was just
absolutely. There's no doubt that was our final, and I think from memory we actually played Carlton 2 weeks in a row.
You did,
or something like that.
And you pantsed them, and you pantsed them both times.
Yeah, they were big moments for us as a club. But then we really just fell apart after that. 88 really broke us, even though we weren't ready and shouldn't have been there. I reckon we were more of a chance 87 if we had got there. But such a long time ago. Let's not revisit too much in the past.
Can I say one thing? Can I say one thing about Melbourne?
88. Sorry, Lovey. Just about 88. Having obviously I wasn't playing, but being involved at the 19s at the club at Melbourne 86, 87, 88. It's amazing how you can get so close but be so far. I'm not saying that to rub it in because the feel around the place was how good's this? Like, and I can remember even, obviously, as I said, I was still, obviously, year 12 and 87, so obviously playing 17 under 17 to DLO, we were lucky enough to win our flag, but the whole Melbourne thing was obviously do it for one of the greatest Melbourne footballers of all time, like, and the way things fell into place that you fell into that final series. Did you beat the Doggies out at the Western Oval or something along those lines? And
to be honest,
that was 87.
I've tried to erase and wash those memories, mate.
I mean 87. That's what I'm talking about, 87, yeah.
Another good mate of mine who just mentioned before, he's a tragic demon like myself. He's just said, move on. We're over it. And he's brought the little tear to his eye, mate. So he's over the discussion as well, mate. We need to not dwell in the past anymore. Our day will come. Sad. Well, the good part is the good Melbourne's won, and that's the Melbourne Storm, and I always have a second backup, mate, as a Demon supporter. Nice. So the Storm haven't let me down, other than that, the NRL letting us down and stealing our premierships. But that's another story for another day.
I feel like we're coming to the vault then. There's two categories I want to raise.
Sure.
So the first category, who's recruit of the year in the AFL? So who's gone to a new club? Who's recruit of the year?
Yep.
And who's winning the NRL premiership?
Okay.
So let's go to the first one.
Okay. So can I ask? Are we looking at just a recruit from, say, for example, Joe Danaher Brisbane?
Yes, correct. So any guy that's moved from one club to the next,
wherever you got him. Yep. Right, I'll give you 2 seconds of thinking time, cousin. I'll drop mine. I'm going with Big Majak. I can tell you one thing. He's a specimen of a man. We just got to keep him out there. And to be honest, his time to shine is right now. right? He's just been said yes. Let's face it, he was playing at North Heidelberg. You know, if he hadn't got picked up by the Demons. I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
He's playing at North Melbourne, so there's not much difference between North Melbourne and North Heidelberg anyway.
Well, possibly.
Blokes at North Heidelberg.
Yes, we do. So I think Big Majak, I think his time to shine now. There are a couple of players down, and if it's there, he'll make a good crack. I just think he's it's there for him, mate, if he wants it. And I'm fantastic that Melbourne are giving him an opportunity, given where he's been and where he's come back from. And I wish him all the best. It'll be a great story a big fairy tale story if we can keep him out there for a while. So give me yours, cuz. You've had your 10 seconds.
I said a little.
Okay, righto.
Who? A little?
Yeah.
A little.
Oh, wow. Oh, no.
Yes, mate. I went to say it, but you spoke through me.
You actually only got to remember one of the names too, mate, because they're the same. But how do you pronounce it again? Give us again, cuz.
I'm not going to say it again. You missed it the first time, so...
Hang on.
That's all right.
So let me help you. Alir.
Yes.
Well, speaking of snoozers, good on you.
Alir is my...
Yeah, and thanks to Dave Cosma for a little shout-out to old Snoopy, mate, or Sleepy. I think he hit you with...
Snoozy. Good old Snoozy.
Yes,
so mine will be the guy that I've picked for the Coleman, and that is Jeremy Cameron. I think he takes Geelong to the promised land.
That big call, great, perfect. Right, let's throw those three in the vault. What else we got? What else is going in? We've got a couple more minutes. What else goes in? All right, NRL Premiership.
Come on, mate. 5, 4, 3,
Penrith.
2, 1.
Penrith for me.
It's going to be hard to not be Penrith, honestly.
Yep.
And that's early days, very early days. I'd love to, obviously the fairy tale in me says Storm, that they just somehow can get it done every time, and Sam Bellamy out, hopefully with another one. I'd love to see the Panthers win. I don't think anyone hates the Panthers, so that'd be great to see. But a big rise from the ashes could be, who knows? I think, Canberra have been there, and they're so ready, and they're the next one, I reckon. I'd love to see the Raiders get up.
I think the Raiders want to make up for not getting back there after they got it to 2 years ago to the grand final. I think a Penrith Raiders grand final would be fantastic for that code.
Definitely.
It would be brilliant.
Yep.
So I love...
You're not a massive NRL, man.
I want to jump on the bandwagon. Obviously, if I had a pick for a team I would support, it's obviously the Storm, but the Jungle Drums seem to be breeding Penrith. But I think, as Lovey said also, Canberra were dirty that they didn't at least give a yelp after winning one a couple of years ago. So I think the Panthers, and they haven't won that many. So yeah, it'd be good. And as you said, Lovey, it'd be good for the strength of the code, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Couple of things I want to touch on is I think this is an absolute fantastic initiative. To have Plugger come to this game, hasn't been to a game in Melbourne for 10 years. Sorry, 2 decades, nearly 20 years. So that's incredible to hear. I wasn't aware that was the case, and he'd been such a recluse in Melbourne. Fantastic to have the great Tony Lockett down here again, honouring his mate Spud. And I think it's a really timely initiative from St Kilda to put on this game. Such a tragedy that little Spud, Chip Frawley, he's not going to be out there. What a devastating moment. I think he would have killed to be out there, obviously, to honour his uncle. But how good will it be to have that? And hopefully that can become a round 2 fixture, like the Indigenous games and so many other tribute games we've got. I think it'll be great.
I'd love because Melbourne obviously is the opponent that night in round 2, and I think Melbourne have had their own tragic story with Broadbridge and Steinsey and Neil Danaher, and I think they more than any other club understand what it's like to go through those sort of things. So I think it's apt that I think those 2 clubs should actually lead this particular round. I mean, if you want to call a mental health round and call it, we need it, we should have it. For me, I read about this just the other day. This particular concept that St Kilda come up with, and I was in tears reading it. Like I just think, I was in tears because it had Anita at the front of it, and his 3 daughters. This stuff won't ever leave them ever, and it won't leave the Gary Lyons of the world, the Stewie Lows, the Robert Harveys who front this campaign also.
Yep.
For me, this needs just as much of a drive as the Indigenous round, as any other particular round. Pink ribbon round. Neil Danaher's round. This is just as much of a social issue as anything else that you can put up. And I think I said it on social media myself that it'll be the one non-Essendon game. It'll be one of the non-Essendon games for the year. I'm more than happy to be balls in. I'll be there. I'll chuck money at it. I'll do everything I can. It's just everyone should be. And good on St Kilda, good on the Frawley family for stumping up on this, because they don't have to. They have every right to just say, look, we would rather have some privacy, but they're on the front foot with this stuff. And the more that there's people out there that are on the front foot with them, I think, and you're not going to cure mental health. It's just awareness. It's just making people more aware of how this stuff impacts people and how we can go better as society in addressing mental health in general. That's how I look at this particular game. Fuck footy. It's actually about the mental health aspect of it.
Yeah, definitely. Cuz?
It's great to see you say that, Lovey. And without talking out of the shop here, we know about your situation and how we've all been touched by it. And I think you need to give yourself a little bit of pat in the back, mate, because you are fantastic about it. You go out of your way to make awareness of it. And that's why, as me, I'm so proud of you, but also of you as that the support you're both given me. That's why we started this at now episode 28. Yes, we've had a lot of fun tonight and talking about the footy and all that sort of stuff. But that's why when and I'm like you, and even now, and I can see you with it. When I'm watching that, I'm thinking, God, how are his daughters and wife going to cope? That's their dad.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, and you think, what can I do? There must be something I can do. It must be something easy I can do. Give $10, ring up someone. And that's when I think, and I look now and with my boys and tours and that, I think we've got to all make an effort. Yes, are we going to stop people committing suicide or people struggling with depression or whatever it might be? No, but we just need to make the awareness of it. And that's where I think putting a serious nudge on what we do with the podcast, that's why I am privileged to be part of this podcast. And the thank you that when we started it, and we all know this, we thought we'd get nothing, but actually people have actually come up and said, God, you blokes are dickheads, but geez, you made me laugh. Geez, you made me stop and think about things.
Yep.
And me, I think you especially, Lovey, and you because you did start it up. I'm just a good-looking bloke in the corner who snores occasionally. So I think it's been great, and I'm honoured to be a part of it.
By the way, you eat too much, but the
I eat well.
Like I said, look, for me, just round 2, rock up, stump up.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Find a way.
You don't have to. Just be a footy fan. Just get there and respect the event for what it will be. And then walk. And if you go to that game and you walk away from it thinking, I wonder if I can do something. I wonder if I can help my mate next to me. I wonder if I can wake up the next day and go, you know what? I'm going to go do this. And even if it's just for one day, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Do something. Just keep trying to think you can do something to help someone else out.
Yep.
Yeah,
well, a good mate of mine said to me not long ago, he said, and he jumped on Facebook Live and just, I wouldn't say he preached a message, but he just said, look, he's had a mate that's just gone down the wrong road and he was in a pretty dark place. And his words to him, and he was doing a podcast very similar to this. And he was on every day, and it was all part of, for him, it was more about just connecting with people again. And one guy that actually rang my mate and said, I'm actually driving now and I'm actually checking myself into a rehab place because you've inspired me to go and do it.
You know what? He saved him. He saved him. I reckon he could have been an hour, 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So what I'd say to you guys, and pin anyone else listening or anyone else that listens to this afterwards, what I want you to do in the next couple of days, and between now and just let's call it a couple of days, don't text someone tomorrow. Do me a favour and pick up the phone to 5 people.
Yep. Drive around.
The 3 of us do that. There's 15 people we're going to speak to, and don't just call a couple of 5 people that you've spoken to recently. Dig a bit deeper in your phone, or dig a bit deeper on Facebook and connect with someone. And let's make a pact that by this time next week, we've chatted to at least 5 people that you hadn't spoken to for a while and say g'day. Now, they're not specifically male at all, but I want a couple of them to be men, a couple of them to be women, people you know, ex-family, whatever, it doesn't matter. Someone you haven't spoken to for a while. Let's do it, because I can tell you, picking up the phone and hearing a voice is so much better than seeing a text and getting mixed in a mixed message. So let's make a pact to do that together. And Eddie Zammit, who's been on the show recently, said great words, and that was in respect of what you said before, Lovey, in relation to mental health and how relevant it is now, and a fantastic initiative that St Kilda's done. And I hope the AFL take it on board and do a whole round of it across every game. That's where it needs to be. It can't just sit in one game, and hats off to St Kilda for taking it on board and starting it. It's something that should have been done already. There's way too much out there.
The best part about this is it's not a politicised issue. Just do it. Just AFL, just do it. You lose nothing, you gain everything. Just raise it for the sake of raising it. Just absolutely do it. And it's funny. I don't know if you've copped back, or I can't remember. You said your friend copped a little bit of backlash about preaching and the rest of it. Well, it's funny because I was off Facebook for a month, and I thought, well, being called someone who's just preaching all this stuff and being woke and all that shit. Well, yeah, good on you. I've decided to get back on Facebook, and the only reason I say that is because you've got to, if you can share what you go through, but also if you know certain things that other people don't, I feel incumbent to let those people understand that potentially these are the things that could help you out. I'm not telling you to go and do something. So that's not being preachy. That's just, people shouldn't be afraid to try and help others out. You don't have to know things. You literally just have to, like you said, Aaron, you just have to ring up and just say good day and just check in.
Yep. Because
to your point with your mate, I might be ringing at the absolute most appropriate time. I don't know it. I wouldn't have a clue. I could be just preventing someone from doing something really stupid. So anyone that's on this particular podcast who listens in, does whatever, do what Aaron's just asked you to do. It's not just us. Well, us three will do it. That's a lay down his hair. It's everyone else. Everyone else doing it. Just do it.
Yep. Everything to the power of 5, mate. You'd be amazed how many numbers we could reach. So
100.
Let's just on that. I think we're also going to do, and we're going to throw in the vault as many. Let's go with the mental health component just for a little bit. And next week we're going to announce someone that we're going to align ourselves to for a month and raise awareness for, and then we might pick someone again the next month or something like that. So we'll get 2 shows. If we can, we'll try and get someone on or get a message, a relevant message that we need to get out for that particular charity and what they're pushing, or their message at the moment. So let's rack our brain with who we're going to start with for next week's show. I think that's a good initiative because I know we started with a couple with Black Dog Institute and Matt Cronin, the Pat Cronin Foundation. So and having Matt on was incredible. So we'd love to hear. We'll get Matt on again soon, actually, because they've got a new campaign they're just released. So we'll have a chat about that. So
I'll try, and no promises, but I'll try to reach out from Lovey knows Cardinal York from our Black Rock footy days Matt Fennis played footy with us, who's now doing an absolutely amazing job as CEO at St Kilda. So I'll reach out to him, like obviously coming into footy season, make any promise, but even if he can give us just a 5-minute grab, because the way they've been about so many things, we spoke about the mental health awareness, but obviously looking after all the different people that it takes to make a football club, boy, girl, transgenders, whatever there are, all those different communities. They've been very much on the forefront, the front foot about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, on a lighter note, did we do the Brownlow before? I've had a couple of sherbets.
No, we did. You've had a couple.
So,
actually, I was just about to say, did we actually? I don't think we did. We ran with
I don't
Coleman.
think we have.
Coleman, and we ran with.
I do my best work after 8 p.m.
Can I give you your answers, Alan? You went with Jack Steele for the Brownlow as a smoky.
Oh, we did too.
With the Bond.
Yeah, you're right. Well, there you go.
On the orange juice, Alan, as opposed
now,
to.
Did we pick any premiership winners? We picked the top 2.
I've got 11 in my final 8. Is that
Yeah.
You know what we didn't do? We didn't pick a bottom 8 and wooden spoon.
Oh,
okay, let's not go bottom 8, but let's go wooden spoon. Who you got?
North Melbourne.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think North Melbourne. Oh no. Adelaide.
Shake those tins, North Melbourne.
Adelaide. Did you see that game? Any of that game? Adelaide and Port?
Yeah, look,
it was putrid.
It's easy to say Adelaide now after that effort, but they stunk, didn't they? They couldn't have had a worse day.
Yep.
Even though it was a practice match, we get up as Essendon supporters for Hawthorn. Doesn't matter what time of year, where it is, it's a showdown. And to dish up that a week out of the season, big concerns.
They did stink. Yeah. They did stink pretty badly that day, a few days back. But North Melbourne for me, I think, I really do struggle with seeing North Melbourne winning more than 4 games for the year, to be honest. And I think if you were to do a bottom 8, just real quickly, I see 6 clubs not winning more than 6 games. And I really think there's a big chasm between probably your top 10 to the rest. I don't see Essendon winning more than 6 games for the year, as hard as that is to say. I really don't. I think Sydney Swans will battle to win 6. Obviously, Adelaide, North Melbourne. I think Hawthorn will battle to win 6. And I don't care what anyone says. I find Carlton, they might win 6 to 8.
How many did the premiership team win last year? And I don't include the final. So to finish top, how many games did?
I don't think it matters because I'm not sure top of the ladder hasn't necessarily won the premiership in a lot of years recently. So I think Geelong finished on top and they lost 4 games all year.
And how many games they play last year?
22.
They play the full 22?
It was 22, 17, can't remember. But Geelong finished on top with 4 losses.
I don't think it was 20 in the end.
It was 17. They played each other once.
Yep.
And that's your statement, Lovey, and I was going to ask a question, and you've answered it, but I'm interested to see what you think going a bit further with that. Do you think the chasm, gap, whatever you want to call it, between the elite, so let's say no teams, but say the top 4 and the bottom 4, do you think it's going to be a lot bigger than in other years?
There'll be 8 games difference.
Yeah.
I see 8 games difference between the top 8 and potentially the bottom 4.
To finish 8th, you think it'll be 12
and 10.
20? Yeah.
It could even be 13-9. In actual fact, because you've got such a big bunch of teams that won't win more than 6 to 8 games for the year, that means that your top 8 are probably going to win 13, 14 games at least. It could be back like the old days in the 80s where you could have a 15-7 record and not play finals.
I haven't got it in
or
front of me.
Or a 14-8.
Who do we think in terms of what we've put in the vault so far? Who do you think will drop? So who's going to drop out of the 8 but free fall out of the 8? Do you think that will happen this year?
Collingwood, you cannot You cannot have your culture turned upside down like that and then still expect to play finals type football for most of the year to ensure you make finals. You cannot do that. No one's on the inside, so we don't know how well they've managed their culture. But the fact of the matter is they've lost 4 depth players. They've drafted at best at number 70, which doesn't have an impact for 2 or 3 years. But the facts remain, you've had really good people walk out of that club. They're going to be relying on at least 4 or 5 blokes that are coming back from long-term injuries, Jeremy Howe being the key one. I just don't see that. I don't think they've got the depth to play finals football at all, and I think they could drop as far as about 11th or 12th.
So with that then, and that's a good question, and a good statement, I should say. Do you think Richmond...
I didn't think I asked a question at the end of that, but that's all right.
Apologise, mate. Do you think Richmond manage their culture better or because of their position on the ladder and the quality they had? And I'm not saying that just to be devil's advocate. Do you think there's no best way to manage a culture. It's just you manage what you've got in front of you. And Richmond just seem to be able to do that well enough to then go out and win games of football, regardless of what's happening in the background. Different clubs manage different things. It's Amazon show that I think it's...
Yeah, I couldn't give a shit. That's all just whatever. I mean, the fact is no one really knows what goes on inside. I mean, West Coast, you could easily claim the same things about West Coast, and they ended up winning the 2006 premiership, and yet anyone would think they've got the culture of an absolute Division 5 Southern Football League mentality. But they won it because they managed their issues the way they wanted to. And that's all there is to it. All the rest of us are speculate. Media can speculate as much as they like. Richmond just do what they think is best, and it's worked for them. And it's the same with West Coast, same with Geelong, same with Collingwood. Look, Collingwood may finish top 6. I don't know. No one knows that. But it's more about the personnel that's left rather than their culture.
Yep. Well, my plummeter for this season is the Pies, and I think they're going to finish on the bottom. There you go. I'm throwing that one in the vault.
Yeah.
Only because it'd be great to see being a non-Collingwood supporter, which we are. So that'd put the cat amongst the pigeons, and there's no doubt Eddie.
Just writing up my TAB multi here.
Cheers.
Right.
Cheers to Collingwood and the wooden spoon yet again.
Cheers to the Pies. So
on your Maguire.
There's no doubt this was going to happen, but Eddie's tipped a three-peat for the Tigers, so that was no surprise. But he's also tipped one that's not too bad. Let's see this one happen. The Swans on the bottom. It's not a bad pick, but I don't think so. I think
mid-range.
I think your call was pretty good, Lovey, with Adelaide. So who knows?
Well, he went north first.
Let's go with
the bottom.
One more thing in the vault. What's it going to be?
I reckon let's just go to the major sporting comps that are going to have a result at the end of the year. So let's forget about the Premier League. Man City are going to win that.
Hang on one second, mate. Go back to AFL for 1 second. Just for all right. Can we say which coach will not survive the year?
Buckley.
Yeah, I think so. I actually think so.
Finish bottom. There's no chance.
So it's Bucks. That's an obvious one. I reckon this could be harsh, but if they don't win at least 3 of their first 11 games this year, I think Adelaide will move on their current head coach.
No, I don't think so.
I don't care. If you don't think so, that's just my view.
There you go. So that's
you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Martin Neal at Melbourne, and Aaron, poor bugger, would understand what that's all about. Martin Neal was not up to that role. He was disgusting, and the way he went about not even mentoring any of those footballers at all, it flew in the face of what he learned at Collingwood at that time. It was staggering.
You know what,
Martin Neal was just not good. It was just not appropriate to be a senior head coach. And if they're not at least 3 wins from their first 11 games, Adelaide, I think the pressure goes on to Nix. That's it.
He's working as a special comments man now for K-Rock. Driving home from GMHBA on Saturday night, this bloke said, "Oh, what do you think?" I thought, "That's Neil." Which, look, he obviously to earn our money. But I thought he's had a pretty big fall.
Did he end up at the Bombers?
Yeah.
Don't.
Right, I'll leave that one in the vault too. Let's throw Mark Neal in the vault.
Hang on, mate. We've done all right, the Bombers, though. Because
where?
Facetious. Dan Richardson, who is a very good amateur footballer. His father played for Premiership player at Richmond. So we got rid of Dan for whatever reason. Then we replaced him with, hang on a minute.
He took Richmond to the 2017 Premiership.
No, but we then replaced him with, we went to the quality. We went to the team that have always been around the mark with us, the team that we thumped in 2000. We went to Josh Marnie.
Honestly.
See, your football department head, I think, Az?
Yeah, I think he was with us for too long.
What is it with our two clubs constantly picking up trash? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
You got good things to be thankful for, mate. Heard he's back. So let's see how that goes.
Yeah, look, I tell you what, you know what?
A
future rising star, not this year, but next year will be his son. Put the money in the bank right now.
Well, hopefully it doesn't end up like another sauce situation, mate.
I'm surprised he's not a Essendon either.
Yeah, well, I think don't be surprised, mate. He's going to end up at a club somewhere. He's got too much to offer. He was great for GWS. I know he had a big checkbook up there, but
nepotism caught him at Carlton.
Should never have been tipped out of Carlton, but the big boys in the big room, like Juddy, all pushed him out. So,
Carlton, best thing they did was get rid of Sauce. He was full of nepotism, mate. Ben Silvani should never have been drafted in the first place. He just was not up to it. Jack, yes. Ben, no.
Okay, so the last one, grand final, back to a day game. I think that's a good move. We had
a feather. That was always going to happen.
Sick of being American with all this shit. I think we just need to get back to our own grassroots and keep it that way. I think the day game at 2:35 or 2:30, whatever it is that they now kick it off at, it's brilliant. Love it. It's a perfect day. It's a perfect time slot for it.
I think Eddie's on the money. Bulldogs quite an astute footy brain. Eddie, he loves his footy. Obviously, he's up and about, and everything he says right now or says turns into gold right now, being the Tiger man. So let's run with that as well. And Jace, good mate of mine, says the D's have been very lucky. We'll take him, mate. We'll take him. So I was very happy to have both of those, to be honest. And Melksham hasn't really had a big chance. He's been riddled with kind of injuries recently, but
Hibbard's pig by name, pig by nature, though. He's
very much like Luke O'Sullivan back in the day at Carlton, mate. He can play. Don't worry, he can play.
His knee's still back in the Waverley turf, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much for input, mate. Wise words from a passionate demon. We'd like to go back to the good old days, and we'd like to thank you for Tony Elshaw. Couldn't get a kick at Melbourne.
Yeah, true.
That's okay.
And maybe to finish on, guys, we should have started with this. 28. Your most famous 28. Or give me a 28 moment or something 28.
28. Paul Weston.
Right.
Essendon. Michael Reeves for Fitzroy. Remember Michael Reeves? He wore the long, almost the Knickerbocker shirt.
Yeah, the Knickerbockers.
Was he 28? I think.
He was 28. Look, for me, the boy from Nil, Floody, David Flood was he was I tell you what, if you ever want to have, I know there's a lot of stiff stories about not making grand finals, but if you kick 4 in a prelim and then you don't play in the fucking grand final next week, you're a bit stiff, aren't you? 93.
Can you just go back over that? The R rating. That's the first step for the night. On the wines, you can tell.
It's 9.29, mate. Don't give a shit. There it goes. Got the waiver.
All good. Just while we're pumping things, if anyone wants to find us, this is how you find us. Type in that detail, Linktree / so what's been happening. That gives us all our socials and how to get to us. So look out for that and get on board.
So back to my original question. Go for it, mate. Sorry, you go. 28, yep.
back in the day, the great Jamie Dersma.
Oh,
Go with that.
hang on.
He was super.
And he's still in the middle of the Windy Hill tour from Simon Madden, if I recall.
Yeah, correct.
He did well too.
Yep, Sydney Swans, and he actually went to Brisbane and never played a game.
Did he play in your grand final team, 88? Was he in the grand final team?
Just from memory.
I think he was, wasn't he?
I can't tell you because that's, as I said, that's been erased. But other than that moment,
brother Dean Dersma as well. He might have played.
Yeah, no one cares about blokes like that. Just elites like me. I mean, Jamie Dersma was a bloody good utility. You threw him forward, back. He could go all right.
Had to come on.
Yep.
What?
Here's another one from Jace, David Cordner.
David
We're going back a bit.
Hollywood.
Number 28. Couple of useless facts for 28. The Arab alphabet, 28 letters. We're going with some useless facts here. And here's the last one.
Has that only got 28 letters? It
looks like
a lot more.
Only. That's
And the melting point of butter starts at 28 degrees. So there we go. There's a useless fact you'll never hear again. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know how true those facts are, but that's what I found.
Bloody hell. Well, okay. Now, back to my original question.
Sure.
So EPL's done. EPL's done. Man City will win that, right? We all agree with that.
You sure?
Yes, they are. NBA champion. Who's going to be it?
It's kind of hard to call right now.
I'm going to go the Brooklyn Nets.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Who's going to win the MLB? Major League Baseball.
Well, that's even tougher. You reckon you can't pick an NBA winner?
No, that's right.
That is going to be tough. What's
going to be the major headline? We're going to put that in the vault. What's going to be the big AFL headline for the year?
Can the Red Sox win the baseball? I'll go with that.
I'd love them to, but they won't.
Yeah, I think
their roster's putrid.
John, yeah.
I think you'll find the Dodgers will be back there again.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
LA seem to have the teams at the moment. Yep. So big headline for the AFL for the year.
Well, we need something big, but you can't be too careful.
I'm going to go a serious one.
We don't want to get sued.
I'm going to go one serious one, and that is player misses out due to new concussion protocol, the 10-day rule.
Player, what's that?
Player misses out on grand final due to concussion 10-day protocol.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah, big story. That'd be a big story.
Yep. Or was it 12 days? Is it 10 or 12 now? I can't remember. It's actually 12 because Timmy English got concussed on the weekend. His 12th day is going to be when they play round 1. So it's 12 days. So someone will miss out, having almost missed 2 weeks of football.
And Big Main at Melbourne has had his first concussion already, so that's not a good start. So he's missed the start. But
I'm not laughing at it, but it's just done. God, big thing in the AFL.
All right, while you're thinking about yours, I'll go with mine.
Yeah, sorry.
I reckon we're going to have a player test positive.
Oh, really?
No, not Corona. Well, let's hope it's not Corona because that'll shut the league down. I think it's time
to performance enhancing or illicit? Performance enhancing, right?
Yeah, I think a third strike's got to go now. There's been too much around this subject for too long, and we can't hide them forever. And I think someone's actually going to get the third strike this year, and it'd be interesting to see what happens. Not that there's probably a truckload on the list, but you always hear about plenty of stories of what's gone on and going on, and
guess what? They're only human.
We can't forget this number 28, the push-up.
Hey, the push-up.
Probably
there's a pattern forming with Eddie. There's a pattern.
Probably one of the best. But fair to say, Eddie's been in great form tonight. So, Eddie, thanks for your involvement, mate. Good luck to the Tigers in the three-peat chase.
I actually want Eddie to design a T-shirt based upon his posts tonight. Whether it's on the front or back, it doesn't matter. I want him to actually design a T-shirt, and I'll wear it. I'm happy to wear it. I'll wear it and I'll pay for it.
Yep.
Don't care.
Well, he's posted a few great comments. He's got Tigers, Wooden Spoon, Swans, Bulldogs to drop out of the 8. And obviously,
I won't tattoo it. I won't put them on as tattoos, but I'll certainly wear it as a T-shirt. There you go.
I'm going to go out there because I think the world's a changing place, as is the AFL from both a women's, I should say, and male perspective. And I think this year we will have our first male AFL player come out and admit that he is gay.
Fair call.
And I think it's about time, and I hope that player
long overdue
gets the support that comes with making such a big statement.
Absolutely, and I think they should take a leaf from the acceptance from an AFLW point of view that there's been so many guys and girls in amongst that space that have come out and declared what they're and it's not really anyone's business other than they should be made to feel comfortable as well. And I think it was great that Hugh Sheridan came out recently as an actor, and he's finally announced that and hopefully gets a lot more comfortable and can live his life.
He announced it, and how fantastic he then proposed. How good was that?
Yeah, absolutely.
My not so serious one. It goes back to your mural behind you, Aaron.
Yep.
And Dustin Martin to have a new tattoo if they win their 4th premiership in 5 years. Put on his neck. Thank you, Mrs. Hardwick.
Can you put up the Alan? Can you put up the disclaimer?
I'll let that one go through the keeper.
I'm waiting for Eddie now. Thank you, Mrs. Hardwick. All fun and games.
Well, you never know. Dusty might be that one that actually comes out. Who knows? You just don't know. Yeah.
The new Mrs. Hardwick or the what? What's he going to come out as?
Might be Dusty, and who knows? Who knows what's going on there?
He's hitting the chopsticks, I hope. That's all I care about.
Yeah, correct.
Got a couple of steps, mate. Get off the fence, mate. Get off the fence.
Not at all. All right, guys. Nothing like a 45-minute that goes for an hour and a half. So we've done a great show. Again. Give us your last sign-off, Cuz.
Before we go, and it's hard to be quick about this, just in a couple of sentences, what an amazing man Michael Gadinski.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. I wanted to touch on that before we finished, and just a special man, no doubt. Had his knockers for sure. There's a lot of people, that he believed that he favoured, certain bands or certain people, and if you weren't in his love list, you were out. But the list, do yourself a favour, classically, and Google Mushroom Records and find out how many artists he has put on the map, and it's just an incredible story. So Michael Gadinski, this concert series that he was about to do would have been massive, and hopefully they can get that up and over the line as a tribute.
I will.
Michael Gadinski, 1952 to 2021. What a legend and a pioneer. And hopefully, I don't think while he had his knockers and he was definitely respected in the industry and did so much for so many people and gave so many people starts. And I think another one who was really his opposition but became very close mates was Michael Chugg. So great to have those as promoters and bringing back live music. And it's just a shame that we've gone through this COVID period. Sadly, we've lost Michael now, and he doesn't get to enjoy the spoils of all his hard work that he's put in the last 6 to 8 months.
And what a great thing with last week, the Australian Cup. Like there's a higher power that the horse that he was quite probably an owner of, and his son was able to be there. So it's the good things happen to good people analogy.
You know what I dare people to do? Look up who it was that Mushroom put their umbrella over and just look at the back catalogue.
Yeah.
I think you'll find that Michael Gadinski is far, far, far more humble than what people potentially perceive him to be. He's had some of the best bands and best musicians on the planet over 5 decades. So,
yep.
Valet Michael Gadinski, and I dare anyone to go and get that catalogue accordingly. Download it. You will have for weeks upon weeks just the best music you can come across, particularly in Australia. He's been brilliant for us as listeners, as music aficionados and fans. You won't get him again. You just won't get it.
Well, Bruce Springsteen paid him the ultimate compliment. Like, we all know what catalogue Bruce Springsteen's got, and he's the best promoter I've ever worked with.
Did you see Ed Sheeran during the week?
Yeah.
Ed Sheeran actually bought his statue, a bronze statue of Gadinski, as a joke 2 years ago. Now it's front and square in his own home, and he couldn't have said anything more kinder about Michael Gadinski. So the guy's global, and as he should be. Yep.
Righto, boys. An hour and a half is well and truly long enough. We'll have to cut this one up into two segments as well. Give us your closing thoughts, Cuz, for the week.
All-Star Mile prediction on Saturday.
Yeah, you're asking the wrong guy here, but Lovey, who have you got?
No, I'm not. I haven't got an all-star prediction. It's a shit race anyway. For me, I still want people to do the thing you asked everyone to do. Bring 5 people and say good day. That's my call out. You know, it's too important to do it. And, you know, don't underestimate the influence that you can have on someone else, even for that fleeting 5-second moment you say good day, how you going? Because it can mean the difference between someone being from there up there. It makes all the difference in the world.
Absolutely. I want people to have a think of and listen to this and think of this next time you might have spoken to someone the wrong way.
Just relax. Okay? We don't talk to one another. It's okay.
And there's classic Razor Ray. I love it.
You know what? We laugh about it.
I love him.
But it's actually a good thing to do.
Yeah. Griggy knew it.
Absolutely. Oh, I think it's one of the best moments, and we'll always keep that footage as a little snippet on the show to throw in somewhere. And it's okay. You know, it's okay. I love that little bit at the end. I'm just going to go. Go, Lovey. Cuz, last one.
I remember a game Essendon played Sydney, probably around the 2000s, and Mark Johnson, the ruggedy sort of midfielder for the Bombers. It was a sort of
I loved him.
He just tackled a guy, and he didn't swear. He just said, "Get up, you dog." He just all he said. He didn't swear. And the guy goes, "You don't speak like that, mate. That's a free kick."
50 metres.
And then he looked at him and went, "Are you fucking kidding?" And he goes, "That's 50 now." Just like this, that didn't swear the first time. He said, "Just get up, you dog." And then he swore, and the umpire just went, "You better come back now, Mark."
I'll tell you what, every bloke I did hit in the head, I did ask after if they've been okay. It's one of those things. You just do it.
Caring, sharing, Alan. I love it.
You just make sure they're all right. That's all.
I don't think that would have been in Cuz's mantra, that's for sure. I think Cuz would have made sure they were down. And
particularly the umpires.
Yeah, well, he made sure he ran far enough away to not get caught for the next one. So, boys, really appreciate an hour and a half of your time tonight. It's been great having a bit of a laugh and a bit of a joke with a little bit of seriousness thrown in there, which is always a great message. And Lovey, thanks for being a little bit open tonight, mate, a little bit vulnerable, and that's always good to talk about, mate. And we've got a lot to talk about in the next month or so in relation to mental health, and I can't wait to dig a little bit deeper on the three of us and some people we might know, and we'll talk about some great topics because I think between us, we've got a lot to offer to a lot of people. So once again, boys, thanks for your time. That was episode 28, the Jamie Dersma special of the known as the Capsule and the Vault edition. So I just want to play a clip to finish out. That'll be the end of the show. Little tribute to the great Cameron Smith. Thanks, boys. See you soon.
Beautiful. See you, lads.
Look after yourselves, everyone.
Yep.
tell you how much, it sort of gives you a lot of confidence being out here, first year and everything.
It's just about unkickable. He takes it back and drives it low. Oh, Gronk. Back on the inside, Cameron Smith straight through, and that was so easy again.
Isn't he a footballer, this kid?
Smith, you deserve it. Cameron Smith, that's your award for a 5-star performance tonight.
Cameron Smith becomes the first Melbourne Storm player to win the Dally M medal.
So the Melbourne Storm, taken out by their captain, Dally M Player of the Year last year, Cameron Smith.
You've been playing rugby league since you're a little kid. You were captain from under-8s all the way through the juniors, and tonight you stand on this stage. You inspire every other little kid to take up footy.
Oh, mate, every player says this is what you dream of, this stage, and mate, I'm just very thankful I got to share this moment with 16 other blokes.
He's just something you've never seen.
Coming back, it's coming back. He hands to Cam Smith. You beauty!
This is a man that just does not underestimate any complacency at all in the side.
Storm on a roll. Cameron Smith. Cameron Smith! The Storm score and smile.
Till now, but Smith has cracked it now. Cameron has scored. The captain celebrates his 100th captaincy with a try. The Melbourne Storm taking the grand final of 2012.
Spoils of a wonderful season. Ladies and gentlemen, the captain, the Melbourne Storm, Cameron Smith.
Vision from Cameron Smith. Identifies the one marker, dummies that way, sends him the other way. That's why he's one of the best in the world.
The kick is good. He got it. He kicked it. Smith will take a shot. He's done it. He's done it. Cameron Smith has kicked it. Oh, Cameron Smith, he slipped over. And they still got it. What a moment that is.
2017 Dally M medalist Cameron Smith of the Melbourne Storm.
Champion players, champion club. Melbourne wins another one. But maybe the best trio of players over that length of time ever to be presented to a rugby league field.
Smith's got a good work on this. The ball proposed to Gary. Cameron Smith, you are a genius.
To become the greatest point scorer in Premiership history. And there's the record.
Look at these kids jumping up and down. That's so cool.
Cameron Smith, son, husband, father, footy player, a true great of our game.
Sit back and enjoy watching this champion. He's the best player I've ever seen.